Drop a like and do share. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe for more videos.
Hello and welcome to Edupedia World. We are now ready to start modeling our X-Wing. So when you start modeling, a few things to keep in mind is that, or a few things that I recommend would be put on your favorite music, get all your screenshots ready in a little pop-up window that you can just bring up whenever you like, and that way you can go in and see all the details that you need to model. And yeah, just don't rush it. That way it's going to be very bad, the things you're going to be making. So just take your time and yeah. So how I will start this. Why is my middle mouse button so bad? Whenever I click it, it's like I'll click it twice. I don't know why. So I'll start off with this cube. Press C. As you saw, this is a cube we set up last time. Before I start doing anything, I'll go into display, garage shading lines, and then I'll, instead of having it set at a wireframe, I'll set it to ISO palms. Or maybe I'll actually wait to do this. So this is our front view, sorry, the top view, and want to start changing this up. So I'll go into the face view, press F10, and I'll set it to select, untick this so that I can select the ends, and I'll drag these in. That was actually fine. I will go into the options, configure all, back. Why can't I change it? So just options, configure, back, transparency, and then I'll turn the transparency down to something like 50%. And also do it in this viewport. Configure, transparency, 50%. That way it's a little bit easier to know what you're doing. I'll highlight everything. And I'll just scale it in like this, and that way it'll fit over here. I'll take the end and line it up to this line right here. So as you can see, if we go into a picture, that's going to be right here in front of this window part. Then I'll take this and just leave it right there. Actually, I'll scale it in until it fits, and there we go. Then I'll go on to the side view, scale this in, move these parts around. I'll actually put this, I'll just leave it right there. I'll start moving these things around like this. And we're going to have a little bit of shape. I'll press K and pick the loop tool, and I'll now start creating a few loops. So I'll make a cut right here and take these points and put them up here. This will now begin to define the shape of our nose. I'll make a few cuts, a cut right here, and I'll take these points and put them up here. Select both of them, press T and scale until they are at 0. That way I know that this line right here is 100% vertical, and the reason I do this is because if we look at our reference, You can see that we've got this line here, and it's going around, and I want to model this. Therefore, I'll need a vertical geometry right here. I'll press K, bring up the cut tool, and make 2 more cuts. Go to point mode, and put the points so that they are in their curvature. There we go. I will now make 1 cut through the whole model, so press K and make a cut through the whole model like this. Press space to bring out the last selection tool I had, and hold shift and select everything. T, scale to 0%. Move it down a little bit. And if we look at it right here, this reference image, just trying to figure out how this line goes. So it's completely horizontal, this line, and it goes around, and it's pretty soft in the nose. So what I'll do is pick this point, and when I say this point, there's actually 2 points. Move this guy back and let this be auspice, our nose. And as you can see, I'm making sure that everything we're working with is all quads. And remember what quads means? That means all squares. Go into a top view. I should start using this view. Set it to y coordinates. Before we do anything, I'll just press K and somewhere here in the middle, shift, go over here, set it to 50%, enter, and click, and that way we'll get a cut through the whole model. Then we will select this, try and select this over here. Alright, so this, since it's orange here, we can see this is the side that's facing to the side. Therefore I'll delete this side over here. And I'll actually undo UI, delete, and delete the rear, the back faces right there as well. And now I'll apply a symmetry, so just what is called deselect everything over here, add a symmetry and drag this underneath. And if it doesn't line up, or if it doesn't work, then you're going to have to change the mirror plane until it fits. Alright. Now we only have to do one side of this, and the rest will be done automatically. Press K and pick the line tool. Now you need to cut. Make a cut like that. I need to cut from here down to there. Cut from this line down to the line right here, somewhere around there. And now we need the slide tool. I'm pretty sure it's UO. Slide MS. No. Slide. We need the slide tool. We can just right click and pick the slide tool if we don't remember the shortcut. So we want to move this in a way that it sits somewhat like this. And now I want to take the point and move it in and down a little bit so that we can define this curvature. Something like this. And if you look carefully, you will see the same kind of line at the bottom, and we want to define that. The way I'm going to do that is by going to the side view, move this forwards a little bit, Now again, take the line tool, cut, 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 and cut up to this corner, cut from this line, and somewhere to the middle over here. Pick the slide tool, once again, and slide this point. And the reason why we're using the slide tool, move tool, is because when you're using the slide tool, you're able to move the points on the surface, and that way you won't be disturbing the shape. And then again, I'll pick these two. Pick these 2 points, move them up like that. As we see down here, and move this point in. We also have this hole here in the front that we want to create. So if we look at the schematic or our blueprint, it says the hole starts here, goes forwards. But depending on the reference images that you get, you can see this one has a very long hole, this one has a shorter and a little bit wider. So this is again a great reason to study your reference images. So this reference image looks a little bit more like this model than it looks like this model, but I think this looks the best and it's the newest. So I'll go with this shape. So as you can see, we need to create an indent, and we can easily do that. So to a cube, press K, and we get the line tool. We can then start cutting from here to there, cut from here to there. For now, I'll pick the loop tool. I can create a loop right here, and I'll create a loop here. Go into the side view, and I'll just rearrange these points a little bit. Press T, set this to 0%, and I'll then slide these points up. Scale to 0% on the X and Y axis. Do the same thing with these two. That way they're going to be exactly straight. Then I'll move them. They don't need these two need, so I'll move them up so that they're exactly on the plane. There we go. Now I'll pick these two faces, hold Control, scale to 0%, move them up a little bit like that. Delete these two faces, and we are just about good. And now I can just easily change the size of my hole, of this indent. Move this up a little bit, move this up, move this up and forwards like that. There we go. If you render this, it looks like absolute crap, and that's because it's not subdivided yet. and we will do that very soon. But we just want to define a little bit more of the shape before we start doing that. So if we look at this reference picture image, you can see that we have got this line right here. We've got that line right here. So this line is this line. So line right here, there's the line we see right here. Then we needed to go down a slight bit and back, and then far way back, and then the rest we can worry about the rest later. So how are we going to do this? I'll show you two ways that this can be done. So this is where you're going to have to make a decision on what you like the best for your model. So you could deselect this and extrude this back by holding Control, and then right click, slide, and slide this point down until it's on the line. And actually I didn't move this back far enough. Needs to be all the way back this far actually. Move it down, get my point, right click, slide down to this point, this position. And I can take these points once again and extrude back. And let's see what we've got. We've got this. And this looks pretty decent. But another way that this could be done would be by inserting another edge. Okay, use the loop and insert an edge somewhere around here. So in my opinion, this is the better way of doing it, because if we go here, you can see we need a little bit more of curvature right here, and we can only do that by adding more points here. So these 2 points, I want these to be moved forwards and a little bit out. That's going to define some of the curvature. Want this, all these points, I want these to be moved out so I get the curvature that we need. Move this out as well. Move this out a little bit, and also select both points and move them forwards so we keep the curvature. So what we could do instead would be to take all these points and move them forwards and scale them a little bit, not that much actually, and then we could take this point and move it up, go into the top viewport and move it in like this. So as you can see, this is another way that the geometry can flow. Gives the same result, but the geometry just flows slightly different. And these are some of the dilemmas that modelers encounter all the time. I actually don't think that any of these two options is the best. So I'd like to keep this point, and then I'll use the slide tool like this to slide it down a little bit. And then with this extra edge, I'm going to do what I did the first time. And this is now where it gets a little bit tricky, because if you look at this reference, you can see there's a line going vertical, and then this weird line that's not straight, and it's very hard to see where it's actually going, what it's trying to do, and therefore it's very nice to have all this reference. So in my opinion, it looks like from here and out, from this line that we've got right here, it's basically getting a little bit wider up to this point, like this. Everything is getting a little bit wider, a little bit taller, and then to this point about right here, this is getting a slightly wider, this is getting quite a bit wider, and this is getting also a bit wider and further down. Okay, so we will do something like this. Move these points back to there, and this point somewhere like there, and move this further back, and then I will, let's deselect or only select the bottom portion like this, press L and move the pivot up, T and scale. And I will take this edge and extrude it up and move this point back. And I can see that I'm a little bit off these exact lines, but I actually don't care. You see, this line is our canopy, or this the cockpit, and we're not exactly the canopy. This point should have been exactly right there, but I don't care because these images aren't precise anyways, so why would I care? I may want to take all these points, scale them to 0, and extrude back with this line, extrude back another time, and now do the same trick where I only select these two lines, press L, move the pivot up here, go back so that I can change the points, and scale like this. I can then pick all these points and extrude back. So right now we've got the basic shape of the body. We want to what was I going to say? We want to go up here to the top and take this line and extrude it in like this. And then we want to take these two edges and extrude them in, scale them to 0, and go to world down here and put the X to 0. That way they are exactly in the middle. I want to take a little bit at the reference that we've got. And I think it looks quite alright. A thing we can do would be to go out here to the front, or actually we will wait a little bit to do this. One thing we can do is to take this line, right click, extrude, and now we will just have these two lines right next to each other. Maybe just want to extrude it a little bit just like this. And there we go. Now we have established the place where we're going to create the line here in the front. So what I've done is that I've extruded this in, and welded it in the middle, but as we can see, we actually need a hole here where R2D2 can sit. So we need to figure out a way that you can create this or turn this into a hole. So you can see R2D2 has the same widths as this hole here. If we go in here, we can see this line should actually be somewhere around here, and then it's going to line up. R2D2 is right there. So I'll take this point, move it a little bit over here, take this point, move it a little bit over there. So I'm going to create a half circle, a hole that consists of a half circle. I'm just thinking right now, yeah, we can do this with a disk. This is a nice way of creating a hole. So this segment, set that to 1, rotation segment, set this to 8, move it down, scale, press C, and our disk will now be editable. Then we want to put this into the symmetry and select these two objects, right click, connect objects plus delete, and that way this will now be in the same object. So if I double click, you can see we've got our round disk. I want to place the disk somewhere around here. And now I can see that I actually need these points to be a little bit further forwards. Then I want to delete this face. I want to delete all these faces over there, and also these faces right there. And I want to go in here, press UO to optimize and remove all the unused points. You can see there are some points right here. UO, they are going to remove those points. I want to select the point right here and figure out its Y position. So if I move, you can see this is the Y position that we need. Copy that, go up here, select these two, and paste the Y position in. That way it's in the same plane. Then we are going to take these two segments, press T, and we can actually scale them up like that. I'll undo a few times because I actually made a bit of a mistake like this. We actually want all these points or all these segments, and then we can just paste in the same Y position. Alright, so now we can do a uniform scale. Scale this up to where it's just perfect. Around here. And then we're going to do control and scale once again, like this. And now I'll hit 0, select everything over here. Shift, select everything over there, delete. And now I'll go into points, select these 2 points, MQ, press M and then Q, and you'll get the weld tool, and then I'll weld them over here. Select these 2 points, the weld tool, 2 points. And now we've got our nice half circle. Take this edge, extrude it in, and go into points mode, optimize, just move the points, get this guy's X position, copy, and paste it onto this guy. Go into points mode and do a UO, and that way the 2 points that were on top of each other right here are going to be welded together. Or now, some reason they aren't, but we're just going to do it manually then. And this is our half circle. 1, to extrude this down a bit. Yes, we can do this, and extrude this in 0, 0, like that, and we can take these 2 points and just weld them together. And now we've got this space up here, and as you can see, we've kept everything as quads. If we do Control A, then you'll be able to see that the majority of the surface is orange, but there's a part of here that's blue. And that means the normals right here are flipped, and that came from the disk we used. So what I'll do to make everything normal or face the right direction is right click and align normals. And if everything were to turn blue, then you're just going to reverse the normals. But since it didn't, I'm going to reverse it back. One last thing that I think we can do is create the gun holes that are on this model. If we look at, where is it? This image looks quite alright. You can see we've got a long hole here on the side. I thought I had a better picture of it. As you can see, we've got this hole on the side, and we want to create this. So how do we do this? I want to figure out where the hole goes from and to. So the hole starts right around here, so right around there, and then it ends right around here. So I'm going to make the hole around here. To make this a little bit easier for me, I'm going to take this point, right click, slide, and just slide it down a little bit. Slide this forwards. Move it in. Move this up and in. And back. And like that. Move this up a little bit. There we go, this looks pretty nice. So the first thing we need to do is create some geometry to work with. Or actually, before we do this, we want to cut the hole. I got a little bit ahead of myself. So to cut the hole, I'll create a bool, add this on into the symmetry, and add the disk, or let's call this body, into the boolean. Then we want to create a cylinder, and we want to refine the size until it fits what we need. And then we can then move this into position and add it to the boolean. Change them around, and there we go. We've now got our boolean. So we can see the cylinder that we're using has a bit too many size. I'll just set it to 8. And by moving this around, we're going to be able to get a hole. You can see this hole doesn't quite meet our criteria, so I'll move it back a little bit and out. Maybe a little bit. I think this may be what we are looking for. Let's see what we've got. I think I'll go with this hole. I'll increase the segments. If I were to increase this to something like, I don't know, something very high, we're going to get a little bit smoother edges. And we can also always delete the unused edges. Before I do this, I'll go into the body, press K, and I will just add a nice edge right around here. And that will limit where all these edges go. So I think this hole looks nice, and it looks what we've got, like what we've got on the reference. So I will just hit C, select the bool, hit C, right click, current state to object, go into the bool, select these two objects and connect, and then move this. I'll hit name it body once again. And now we've got quite a lot of cleanup to do. So as you can see, we've got all these lines, and it can be very tricky to see what we need to use and what we don't need to use. The way I'm going to do is by using the loop tool to create a few cuts up here. So it's up, and when I do this, I need to make sure that the lines up here are as I want them, and they are, because if I start to create a lot of geometry like this, then moving it later on is going to be very, very, very time consuming, and it's not going to be very pretty. So I think this is alright, and I will now start to cut the lines. So cut from here to there, cut from here to there, cut from here to there, cut from here, line here to this line may have put these lines a little bit wrong. I want this to line up nicely, so I will create loop. I'll create this loop so that this is going to go down, connect to the end right here. Then I'll need one in the middle and one to connect to this end over here. And then we can just create one line in between both of these, like this. So get my line cutting tool, cut from here to there, cut from here to there, cut from here to there, press 9, and then I will just select all these lines, all these lines, all these lines, right click, 9, shift, right click, dissolve, and that way these lines are gone, and I'm left with clean geometry. And I'm going to do the same here on the bottom. So I accidentally removed this line, so I'll just cut it once again. What the hell? Cut, cut. There we go. I can see I've got 2 points right on top of each other, so I'll just MQ and weld them together. There we go. I will now do the same thing on this side, so loop, cut, 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 go into line and make all these cuts. think I'll choose this one. Alright, so now I'll go into the line selection tool, press 9, select up onto this point, and now I'll just select all the stuff that I don't need. Right click, dissolve, and right here I will take all these points and weld them to that point. And that way I will end up with this nice hole. What I'll do next is just select everything, right click, and do a little bit of an extrusion. Not too much, just like that. And then I will extrude this back like that. Go. And this should be the general shape of the body.
Thank you for watching Edupedia World. Stay tuned for more videos.